Gateways are very interesting, I think, because they're solving like a very similar issue where, hey, there's now this new way to do things. It's called MCP. It's how you connect external services to your AI.
Yeah.
And with great power comes great responsibility. If you're a security product, focus on the security aspect. Don't also focus on like productivity.
Naseem Al-Naji is the co-founder of MCP Cat, a platform that helps developers debug and understand how AI agents interact with their MCP server. Wait, before you jump forward,
Yeah.
the goal idea,
Yeah.
explain more of that, because that feels like something novel I haven't really heard.
Yeah. When you're building an MCP server, you're actually a bit disconnected from your end customer, right? You might have your MCP server, but the person using that is interacting through it through Claude or Cursor or Claude Desktop. And those companies own a big part of the experience. Oh, this guy says there's a problem. I don't know why. Oh, he's using Cursor. What
Works
version
on
is he
my
using?
machine, dude.
Like, yeah,
What are
works
you
on my
talking
machine. Yeah, exactly. Works on my machine.
Yeah. Oh, well, I like this. Let's pull on that thread a little more because
Gateways are very interesting. Yeah, I think that they're very valuable. I'm surprised by how many there are.
Yeah.
But I guess that's like good, good competition.
I think a lot of people pivoted into the space, and the most logical first step is a gateway. And especially if you're a security company already and you're doing like package scanning.
Yeah.
Okay, what else should we scan?
Yeah.
MCP servers.
Yeah. I think also it's a repeated model because when LLMs came out,
Yeah.
LLM proxies were, so many established companies use LLM proxies. So it's kind of like the next step. Oh, okay, well, like let's just get another proxy.
Yeah, we should have MCP proxies and LLM proxies, and we need our gateway to check the cost.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, is it not the same thing? Like they just proxy, they just are the gateway, and then if it goes to an MCP server through the LLM, then okay.
I mean, it's very similar. I think that proxy is very good because it can catch what people are chatting with LLMs, and if it doesn't like something, it will like kill the user's session.
Yeah.
Right. So you can actually like filter out what's getting sent to an LLM. You can also, block all network traffic to other LLMs. Gateways are very interesting, I think, because they're solving like a very similar issue where, hey, there's now this new way to do things. It's called MCP. It's how you connect external services to your AI.
Yeah.
And with great power comes great responsibility. So here's a ton of like gateway solutions.
Yeah, totally. And I guess a lot of the gateway value prop is hit our gateway and you don't have to load up 5,000 servers. You load up our gateway, it's the one server to rule them all, and we will figure out the most efficient way to grab whatever tool you need from whatever server you need.
Yeah, I personally don't. I personally wouldn't use them for that.
No.
Like I think having as a customer of an MCP, right? I would prefer that the MCPs I use are like the ones I use kind of like, it's okay if they're proxied through a gateway, but I don't want the gateway to do the routing for me. I think personally.
Why not?
I think I think that LLMs are good enough, or the MCP clients are good enough at picking the right tools. At least that's what we see at MCP Cat. Like, that I think I do see some gateways try to say like, hey, we'll give you all the tools and use our gateway to like navigate them. And it just feels like an unnecessary extra step.
It's
like
an anti-pattern.
Well, I think it's important to focus the solutions, right? If you're a security product, focus on the security aspect. Don't also focus on like productivity. I started a cybersecurity company 8 years ago and I sold it. So I think like it's like a more important, it's more important to understand your ICP. And so like, I think as like a user, I'd want just like, hey, this is like how we do security. And usability is handled by different solutions. But that's my personal take.
Yeah. Oh, well, I like this. Let's pull on that thread a little more
Yeah.
because you're not going to have 5 different gateways, right?
Mhm.
Like, so if there is a usability feature,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it doesn't have the security, you're not going to like go and then also have a
Yeah, of course.
security gateway and then you like have 2
Yeah.
gateways that it's going through.
I think like what I just mean is like if I'm going to use a gateway, I don't want it to be opinionated on which version of a customer's on which version of MCP server I use. Like I want to pick and choose the MCP servers that are loaded up into it.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
a like yeah.
I see that.
Because what if a new version comes out and it enables different tools? I guess for example, Webflow is one of our customers. Like if I want to use like a new update of their MCP server, I don't want my gateway to be the reason we can't use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially because it's like you're constantly, as that gateway, having to stay up to date with
Yeah.
whatever the external servers are doing.
Yeah.
And which you kind of, in a way, if you're doing the security thing, you also have to
Mhm.
do. You have to scan it and make sure
Yeah,
that
yeah,
there's
yeah.
no malicious stuff. But
Yeah.
I see what you mean. It could be a potential blocker.
Yeah.
The thing that this makes me think about is how you're seeing success
Yeah.
with folks that are using MCP.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So I guess for context, if people don't know what MCP Cat is, we are a like product analytics layer for MCP servers. So if you're making an MCP server and you want to make sure it's good, you use us to tell you that, right? So what we do is we get feedback from the agents using your MCP servers and share that with you in a way that's statistical. We find their goals with your MCP server and we help you understand if those goals are succeeding or failing. Are agents hallucinating on certain tool calls?
Mhm.
And so, you see a lot of the problems people have with MCP. A big reason is that most of those MCP servers are half-baked hackathon projects
Yeah.
that never got any real maturity from the organization. Like the main way they hear about problems are through GitHub issues. That's not how we find problems in mature software today.
Yeah.
So how do we fix that? And so um
Wait, before you jump forward,
yeah,
the goal idea,
yeah.
explain more of that because that feels like something novel I haven't really heard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when you're building an MCP server, um, you're actually a bit disconnected from your end customer,
Mhm.
right? You might have your MCP server, but the person using that is interacting through it through Claude or Cursor or Claude Desktop. And those companies own a big part of the experience. But at the end of the day, if your MCP server cannot enable your customer, then they're having a bad experience,
Yeah.
right? And so because there's these third parties in the way, you actually don't know what your user is prompting at the like to get to the MCP server. So if I want to use like Webflow's MCP server to update my blog on my website, it's going through Cloud Code, and Webflow's MCP server actually has no idea that was my goal. Or if I wanted to translate it into Spanish and have a Spanish version of it, they have no idea that that's the goal. They just see, oh, it's calling this tool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so what we do is we actually extract the user's overall goal with the MCP server. And we do that by augmenting any MCP server's tool list with required fields that tell the agent, hey, tell us a little bit about why you're calling this tool and how it fits into your overall goal. It's kind of like a
No way.
micro user interview.
Yeah.
And
And so the agent has to say that when it sends a request.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And so that's a lot of data.
Yeah.
That's like a ton of tool
Yeah.
calls, right? So how do you stitch that in together into a reasonable way? And so we'll like take all of those, stitch them together, and you have like a play-by-play of what the agent was doing, why it was doing it. And you can even see extract like higher level goals with your MCP server, like what are the top 10 use cases for this MCP server?
Does it not add to the cost?
Yeah, it does. It adds like a fraction of pennies to the cost,
okay.
right? I think that what's crazy is we have over 100 million events logged every month and no complaints from customers because that's just like the way people are paying for these. I think tokens are actually quite abundant.
Uh-huh.
And so many tokens are used in the process of even deciding to make a tool call that we add 0.05% to that cost. And so,
And the value you get from those 0.05 tokens or that cost increase is so much more. If I can understand how my customers are using my MCP server and why,
yeah.
that's going to enable me to
Yeah.
build a better MCP server.
Yeah. And it's also opt-in. Like if you could ask, like you can flip a switch in MCP Cat and say, also ask my users if they're cool with it. And so it doesn't even have to be by default enabled for your MCP server. You can sort of let users decide if they are giving you usage data, like what you do in traditional software.
And you're also tracking where it's coming from. And I say this because one of the big use cases I heard yesterday is internal MCP servers in large companies. And so if I am building an MCP server and I have no visibility into it, I don't know who's using it in the company, what they're using it for. But then if I do know that, hey, it's coming from legal and they're using it for this reason, is that like something you can do to like get that traceability as to where in the...
Yeah, totally. So you can have what you're talking about is sort of identifying the session of a user and who they are and where they're coming from, right? Like we will get you information that it is, Kevin Smith who belongs at this company and is part of this team and this organization, and they're using Cloud Code. Right? All of this stuff. So, when an issue happens, you might actually be able to tell through our products that, oh, this is affecting Cursor users only, because Cursor interprets the protocol differently than other clients do. And so otherwise you would have no idea.
So cool.
Oh, this guy says there's a problem. I don't know why. Oh, he's using Cursor. What
Works
version
on
is he
my
using?
machine, dude.
Like, yeah.
What are
Works
you
on my
talking
machine.
about?
Yeah, exactly. Works on my machine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you can get that in-depth analytics and like telemetry.
Yeah. I mean, I think you need it to
Yeah.
run a mature MCP server. At the end of the day, like, I mean, this is like par for the course for web analytics. You need these answers in order to know how to fix problems before your customer even gets angry.
Yeah.
Right. And for example, at MCP Cat, we have tons of analytics where I get paged if the page loads slowly.
Yeah.
And I'll message our customer like, hey, sorry about the delay, like slowdowns. We're on it.
Yeah.
And one of our customers, she was like, oh, I was gonna message you and you messaged me before I even could message you. I'm like,
because you can then set up events. So if X happens, then we do Y, and it can be very deterministic. Like if we're seeing a spike in latency, tell the agent to reply or tell the end user and message them. So
yes. Yeah. You could even, if a tool call is slow, the response could say, hey, sorry for the slow response. Apologize to the user on our behalf if you are cool with that. And then the LM will say, hey, this company's MCP is slow today. They wanted to apologize.
Wild, man.
I mean, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, but it's possible.
It is possible.
Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff. And it is true, like for a mature product, you need that kind of analytics. I don't know anybody who's not running something like Posthog in their products, or a variation of Posthog. I know Posthog's very startup-y stuff. In Posthog and all these like Launch Darkly, you have a lot of ways to update features. Do you within MCP Cat also have that route where it's like, hey, we're gonna A/B test some stuff, or we're gonna do like a little bit of a rollout, feature flags type of idea?
Yeah, very interesting. We don't currently do that. Like, I think, feature management is probably an interesting space, but I don't think MCP servers need that yet.
Yeah.
I don't see very many people wanting to A/B test their MCP. And so, I think we are already quite early to the analytics game for MCPs. And so I think like just sharing like what users are up to and when they're running into problems is the core focus of what we're doing. And maybe one day we'll do like feature management, but I think there's also like a ton of solutions out there that are not unique to MCP that might do it better,
Work for
right?
it.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think like we solve problems unique to MCP and probably
Goes
stay.
back to that focus idea we were talking about just a few minutes ago.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's really interesting is what we see makes MCP servers better. Like has nothing to do with our product. It's purely just like we'll flag when issues are happening and the solutions to them are quite creative.
Mm.
For example, one of the biggest gaps I see in MCP servers is many people do not use errors on tool calls as a way to guide an agent into the right way of doing things. So like you might hit a web page and it errors and it says 500. Okay, sure, you're a human. There's nothing you can do to fix that. But what's nicer for agent experiences is when they mess up, the tool call tells them, hey, you called this error. Maybe you were trying to call this or this or this instead. Go do that. And that makes agents a lot more recoverable when they make mistakes. And so there's tons of different techniques that we've seen customers use to actually improve the success rates of their MCP server.
And so this is just when you have errors, you're guiding them in different directions. And these are hard coded, or this is something that you're telling an agent to make sure when you're creating, if, there's an error, you give 3 other options.
I think it's more just a opportunity. There's no, I don't have like, whether it's hard coded or not, right? I think that's kind of up to how much time you guys want to spend on it,
Yeah.
right? But the fact of the matter is that errors propose a unique opportunity to agents to kind of tell them what they're doing wrong with your MCP server and course correct. And if you're not doing that, if you're just saying an error happened, sorry,
Yeah, good luck.
good luck.
Should try again.
Try again.
Yeah.
Like it's not constructive. The agent doesn't know what to do. So why wouldn't you use that as an opportunity to guide them?
It is so wild because as you're saying this is like the first time that I can think of where you get that ability to like reroute in flight
Yeah.
and you get the knowledge and that the intelligence that the agent has to understand the error codes and then redirect its intention.
Yes, exactly. And actually, not that many companies do this just because they haven't thought about it. Or, previously, error codes are something you might like not want to show your user. Like, what if it's, too cryptic, or like they don't know what the parameters, like they don't need to know the parameters of the API that detailed. Like, you want to hide it. But actually, with agents, you want to be clear and communicative with them, kind of the same way we are with humans. Like, if you filled out a form to purchase a flight and you forgot your last name, you'd see, hey, your last name's required.
Oh.
That's a better thing to tell a human. So why wouldn't you tell an agent like, hey, you got the parameters wrong. You didn't just get them wrong. You forgot the last name.
Yeah.
So fill that, like retry your request with last name. Like as an example of a
such
proper way.
Easy fix. But if you don't think about it, this is one of those ones where it's like no or not that much overhead is needed to put this into practice.
Yep.
And you'll probably see such huge gains from it.
Yes. And we've seen customers have huge gains from that. Yeah, for sure.
All right. What other tricks you got
Other tricks?
for me? Successful MCP servers.
So this is probably unique to, different use cases. We have a logging provider as a customer. And so an MCP could query the logs, right? But those logs could be like, if it's like a broad query, you'll get thousands and thousands of results, and you don't want that to send to the MCP, or you don't want that to go into the context window. Like that would fill up the context window, and it's not useful. Something that we've seen some MCP servers do is they'll have as a parameter to tool calls token limits. So when they're making the tool call, the LLM can say, I only want you to return 100 tokens. So don't send me more than 100 tokens because I don't need that many. Does this make sense?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm pinging an MCP server, and then what I get back is very within a certain bounds that I define.
Yeah.
So it's like it can't be more than you set the parameters. It can't be more than X tokens. It can't. I'm sure you can set a lot of other parameters too. But is the token length the one that gives you the most bang for the buck?
It's unique, right? Because normally you think of your tool calls mapping one-to-one to API parameters, right? You're thinking like, okay, I want you to search for my users in this country. The agent might not know that you have millions of users, right?
Yeah.
And so when it does that query, it might get millions of results.
And it might try and give you back all of those
Yeah.
results.
And maybe some APIs have limits that you can set on results, but sort of what's nice is to give the agent has more context on how many results it wants or expects to get its problem solved. So having a token limit on every tool call that could be lengthy is a really nice way to let the agent decide how many tokens it's filling into the context window with a tool.
And so when the agent comes and submits whatever its request is,
Yeah.
it is always saying that's one of the parameters that it's throwing in.
Yes, exactly. For lengthy tool calls.
Yeah, so yeah, it doesn't need to be every time,
Yep.
but when you know that there are certain tool calls that can get a little bit
Yeah.
unruly, you say, all right, cool. Make
Yep.
sure to submit how many you want as one of these parameters
Yeah, exactly.
in that form that you make them fill out before they are hitting it.
Yeah.
That is super cool. And it saves a lot of money, I'm sure.
I think it saves a lot of money, and people talk about MCPs. I mean, the goal is to save money and be more reliable and more efficient, right? And so this is just one way that agents can sort of not get surprised with massive context window.
Yeah, because then it ends up first it fills it
Yeah.
up, and then it ends up not being useful.
The other fun one that I have for you is something that we do automatically, but anybody with an MCP server can do, right? But we'll do it automatically for customers. Is you add an extra tool to your tool list that says, "Tell me what we're missing to get your job done." Okay, so let's say is there an MCP server you use much, like that you like to use?
Of course, Playwright.
Okay, Playwright. Yeah. So let's say you asked an agent to do something with Playwright, and that might be involving a Chrome extension. Like you wanted to also click a Chrome extension, right? But Playwright's tools don't let you access Chrome extensions. Playwright could expose a tool on their tool list that says, if you don't have what you need, report it. So report missing functionality.
Yeah, it's like give us feedback.
Yeah. So instead, your agent will report to Playwright, hey, the user wants to access Chrome extensions, but I can't do that with the current available set of tools. And that gets sent straight to the developer team of Playwright. And they can say, oh, okay, well, this has been asked, 1,000 times. Maybe we should do it by now.
Yeah.
Right. And then they'll know that you're trying to do something that can't be done. And they never even had to talk to you.
Or it just automatically creates an issue and starts trying to create that
right
away.
Yeah,
It's
if they have that,
the developer gets the PR. They don't get the feature request. That is wild.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
That is so logical, and it makes so much sense. And again, it's something that if I didn't think about it, I probably wouldn't do it. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's just adding an extra tool.
Yeah, just one extra tool.
And you get so much insight.
Yeah. I mean, it's business critical. And so when you see these discussions about, oh, MCPs suck, well, candidly, they've been out a year and no one has put in tons of effort into making them better, right? And they are now, and they're getting better, and some of them are great. Like I love some of them. So
have you seen like good practices on how to build tools and how to properly like abstract the tool calls? Because the classic gripe you hear is, well, if you just map it one-to-one with your API, then it's a horrible experience and you've got a million tools and you load up all those tools into the context window and it blows everything up. And so then I've heard, well, you want to abstract it away and maybe you just have 3 tools that you can go to first and that will bucket it, and then you can tree search down on the different tools. Or it's a clear workflow, you know the intention,
Yeah.
so you don't need to have each minuscule detailed tool if you know the intention.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so I think that the discussion when people are talking about mapping tool calls one to one to APIs and extracting them out into like more usable things, like I think there's obvious gains, right? Like you could turn instead of making multiple tool calls for the same thing, yeah, you're saving round trips if you're able to combine 3 tool calls into like what they actually do together.
Yeah.
That's like obvious. But I think the hard thing is giving people recommendations for, well, like, what is that? Like, how do I know what those are? And what I like to tell people is base it off your UI. Like, do you have a UI today? Like, your UI is probably using 20 API calls to solve a human need, right? And so that can be a good place of inspiration for where you would normally combine tool calls. You can actually expose, like, oh, well, this page of our product is like a review page and it uses like 10 different API calls, but we can just tell the agent, oh, you want like us to do that for you? Like, here's like, we'll do one, like just expose one tool call called review and it will like do that. And it does everything in behind the scenes that, yeah. So like
Yeah.
kind of taking inspiration from your UI because you've done a lot of thinking on what the human wants and
Yeah.
agents kind of want the same thing sometimes.
Yeah, you don't have to overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I'm thinking about how you probably have a lot of extra stuff in your UI that you need to do because a human is doing it, but you potentially don't need as much, but you still know the outcome.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you know the outcome, and if you know that outcome, that can be the tool that you're exposing. And then along the way, if you need to get information from the human or the agent, then you get it.
Yeah.
And that is part of that form or those pieces of extra information that you want to get from the agent.
Exactly. Yeah. I think like the UI example probably has some things that aren't even relevant to an agent. So you don't like, you would cut those out, but there are hidden gems in there of like core like use cases that you could put into one nice tool call and maybe combine like 3 or 4. And then your agent has less tools because once you hit over 30, we see like most agents start to crumble
Mhm.
in terms of like success rates. And so you kind of want to have less than 30. And if you have tons of API calls, you can condense them down into like more appropriate use cases. And if the use cases are not what the agent wants, you can always expand your tool list because the use cases aren't what it wants.
Have you seen much success with just having like two tools, which is like search tools and then
Mm,
execute?
yeah. Cloudflare does this, right? Yeah. Um, We don't have any, I think, like, we've only seen Cloudflare do it. We don't see none of our customers have done that. I think it's interesting. I think it could work, but I think that it was a solution. It's like changing your product for, a solution that needs to happen more on the downstream. And so I think it's like less necessary now because Claude and some more intelligent agents are doing searching on the tool calls already. And so like before then, I thought maybe like, okay, if you have tons of tools, sure, that makes sense. Like Cloudflare has so many different services. I'm sure like that they need it that way. But now Claude can actually search across tools for what it needs. And I don't think you really need those as much anymore.
What about going back to this idea of a goal?
Yeah.
Have you thought about how granular you have MCP servers? Like, do you have one overarching MCP server, or do you break it up and you say, well, I know a clear set of goals, and so I'm going to have one MCP server that's for those goals, and maybe that means I make 5 different servers.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're a large organization, you need separate servers just because developers are deploying and you don't want like their deployments to break other services deployments and maybe certain teams move at a different pace. And so I think you'll always want multiple MCP servers if you have like multiple products. And that way you can like enable or disable them. Like the user can choose to like disable or
Uh-huh.
enable them. I think that uh, Cloudflare's solution is very interesting in that they probably have tons of MCP servers that they're like routing the execute calls to.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that what Cloudflare is doing is it's actually an agent behind the search and execute, and
Oh.
it has just like very Cloudflare specific knowledge
Yeah.
behind the hood. I think that's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that, like, as you said, the goals idea earlier, it made me think about, okay, well, how granular do we want our goals to be?
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about how you want teams to own certain servers, and you want to have that type of flexibility within the servers, yeah, and the deployments and all that good stuff that microservices bring to the
Yeah.
table.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, yeah, good things. I mean, I think like yes, like microservices will like are definitely enabled that will enable large companies. I don't know that like a smaller team would want them per
yeah.
se, but yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe your, like you're saying, like your product is
Mhm.
not so
Yeah.
big like Cloudflare where you
Yeah.
need 50
Yeah.
million different tools.
I will say what's really interesting is last year, we saw like kind of a shift in organizations.
Mm.
We saw companies, their MCP servers were all one team. And like companies had like an AI team
Yeah.
to do the cool new stuff
Yeah.
that is coming out. And so you'd see that, oh, one team of 5 built the MCP servers for like all of Cloudflare or all of these companies, right? And then what ended up happening is their MCPs took off and they realized, oh, wait, okay, like organizationally, this MCP server is an interface for this product team's product.
Yeah.
Um, but the AI team made it and is managing it. And so now we've seen MCP servers shift in responsibility away from AI dedicated teams
Wow.
to product dedicated teams that now just need to think about AI for their product as a like first principle. And so now we've seen the ownership of MCP servers shift internally into the dedicated team.
Yeah, it's getting closer to the source.
Yeah. And so we'll talk to some teams now and we'll say like, hey, like, are you guys managing this MCP? And they'll be like, oh no, that's actually those guys. They manage that MCP.
And that's where you get more granularity and it breaks up into different.
Yeah. And so now what we see in organizations is like there's a platform developer experience team that's in charge of making sure all the MCP servers kind of use the same properties.
Uh-huh.
But product teams are owning their own MCP servers as almost like their like UI for agents.
Yeah. And I imagine data teams have their MCP servers
Yeah.
to sync in with the databases or
Yep.
whatever. So you let the teams who know the most about the product that
Yeah.
they're exposing to the agents be the owner of the MCP server. But I do like you have a platform team in a way to make sure that things are a little more standardized.
Yes, exactly. Right. Like they're all TypeScript MCP servers and they all use this form of authentication for the user. And like, cause there are things that you want to standardize the developer, or like the user experience on,
Wow.
while enabling product teams to handle their core business logic for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Makes complete sense. What else is there to chat about?
Yeah. I think, something that I think we came to this conference for
Yeah.
is mainly there are protocol level discussions happening that I think affect user analytics
Uh-huh.
pretty significantly. And so what I mean by that is the protocol is developing ways to make running MCP servers easier for developers. Um, but there's consequences to understanding a user's journey. And so what I mean is like, as a company, you want to know that the user came from Claude Code and asked these like 10 different like tried these different cool calls in that session. But what does that mean? And how do you know that that's a user's session when they have 5 Claude codes and all 5 of them have hit your MCP server and they're asking questions to your MCP server
With different goals.
with different goals. And then maybe even one of them spawns sub agents, right? And so I think that there are a lot of protocol conversations happening to understand that on like a network level or like a authentication level. Like, how do you know they're all authenticated the right way? But we wanted to see how much of the protocol is actually thinking about this usability and traceability for knowing that the experience is good. And so there's conversations happening actually like right now where they're like talking about MCP version 2 for the SDKs. I think like someone from Anthropic's giving that talk.
Then, yeah.
Yeah, it might be. And it has real implications for how that's done on a protocol level. And I'm curious to see what they come up with.
They're not thinking about it as the product analytics point of view.
Yeah, I think rightfully so. They're thinking about it more from a networking and security standpoint.
Very deep technical.
very
Like,
deep
how can we
technical,
make
right.
this the best technical experience?
Yes, and like infrastructure experience, et cetera. And that's totally where the protocol should be focused on.
Yeah.
I just think that there are repercussions to product analytics that we just want to make sure that whatever they're solving also makes session tracking easier and
But are you afraid that it's going to totally forget about that?
no,
Or
I don't think so, because I think even for a good Claude Code experience, it needs to know that the ways it's using the MCP server are consistent with the session itself. And so I don't think it will like be completely discarded, but I do think it's useful for companies to know that a MCP tool call came after these tool calls and was spawned by a subagent with different goals. And yeah, I think like if you want to make a good experience, you need to know the experience's structure.
because right now you can't tell if it was spawned by a subagent to then execute
right now
more.
right now you cannot tell that it was spawned by a subagent. You can tell that it's a different like goal and purpose and session but
From the same user.
but you can't tell that it's a
But you know that it was like, all right, we hit this MCP server, we got this information, now we realized we need more.
yeah
And so we spawned subagents and then we hit it again.
yeah to a company even using MCP cat, right? It would just look like that's a new goal and new tool calls were made for the goal, which is not like necessarily wrong, right?
Yeah.
But they tie into overarching goals of your
Yeah, what that intention is.
yeah.
And also the same. Oh,
So tracking intention becomes more complicated if these network primitives change a lot or don't like really think about user analytics at the higher level. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Man, that is so wild. It is so cool that you're working on this. And like, it is very novel in that I've seen a lot of MCP gateways. I haven't seen MCP analytics.
I'm glad to be a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think the gateways are solving a good problem.
Yeah.
But I would say, I don't know anyone else doing what we're doing. So,
It feels like people would resonate with it pretty easy. Like if they have more than 3 MCP servers set up, have you found that it's quite easy for people to understand it? Because you're effectively creating a whole new, what do they call it? Like the blue ocean. You've got the blue ocean strategy. You're creating a new product category.
yeah, I mean, that's a very nice visionary way to put it. I mean, got the hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We
but
just do hard things that nobody else is willing to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very like, I think that it depends on the organization, right? If they are viewing MCP as a core strategy, it clicks. If they're not yet and they're still experimenting, it doesn't click. Like they are like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Getting our users emailing us that it's broken is fine right now, right? But it changed. Like, it's a timeline thing. For most people we talk to, it's like, yeah, we need this. It's just when we need it.
Is it easier to talk with enterprises? Because like we were saying, they have a lot of these internal MCP servers.
Oh yeah, I think internal MCP servers are like less of a value add for us. Like,
Oh, really?
Like, well, they already have, like, they could talk to their employees more readily on what's wrong, what's broken. I mean, we're better for like if you have a customer facing MCP server, I mean, that's like like you can't
Higher
let that
stakes.
experience be bad, right? That's like, one day a AI native product could come around that has an incredible MCP experience and an incredible agent experience, and yours sucks. So you need you need the data to make it better. And so yeah, I mean, bigger companies for sure are better fits
Mhm.
for our products, but you know, anyone that it's a core part of their strategy, it makes sense.
It feels like you are very orthogonal to the whole movement of agent experience
Hmm. Hmm.
that I think is gaining a lot of popularity. And
Yeah, it is a thing. Yeah.
a lot of us want to know, like, how can I use a product that my agent is going to be able to grok really easy?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting because it's kind of like now when I'm picking a vendor, I kind of want to know how good it is with Claude, right? And there's no way for me to find that out. Like there's no registry where I could see like, oh, this MCP.
Actually,
Yeah.
there is. I found one.
Oh, really? Oh,
I
yeah.
think
Please do.
it's 2027.dev. They gave a talk at one of our virtual events.
It's a number.dev.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 2027
Okay. Okay.
dot dev, and they have a whole they did a bunch of research on agent usability
Mm,
products.
yeah.
And so there's all these different products that are like the best ones, an agent can use it within the first 4 seconds. The worst ones, it takes like 10 minutes.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and they have the whole spectrum and how
Wow.
different products are shaping up against it.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I understand what you're saying, because if your product is not open source, it's
Yeah.
very hard for you to just tell Claude to go and test it out.
Yeah. Completely. I mean, like I need to sign up for an enterprise account to get access to your MCP server. I mean, I don't, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
don't want
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do that.
Especially if you're testing out like the agent usability of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I haven't even decided it does a good job
Yeah.
yet, right? And so yeah, I think it's very interesting. I'll check out this
Yeah.
registry.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think you'll like it.
I don't know if we need another registry, but
Well, it's
yeah,
not
I
it's
mean,
not a registry, it's just research that was
oh, it's just
done on.
research. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Okay,
So
okay.
it's not
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
here's the registry, use
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
use us, and then
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
just, hey, we tested all these with these coding agents. Here's what we saw. And they did it with different coding agents,
I
so it's
see.
not like biased.
Okay, okay, okay.
And they gave a whole report on it.
I see. Well, what I was thinking is something that is a bit more like, I mean, it's something we could do, honestly, but it's like a review system for agents and these MCP servers where the agents report to the MCP,
Yeah.
like the agents report to a reviewing service, like, hey, like
This
my
server is
experience with all the tools I used and all the skills I used
yeah,
were like X, and I
it's
like,
mediocre at best.
yeah, yeah,
Imagine you have the like comments on there too.
yeah,
It's like Yelp, except
yeah.
yeah, it's like the Yelp Moltbook
Yeah.
cross.
And now we look at like Yelp for what services we want to use because agents are willing to actually take the time and probably review all of them. I think it's just like, what's the benefit to the user? I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Well, if it's a more reliable way of using a tool, like if an agent comes to me and says, "Hey, we can use Railway or Vercel, but Railway is really cool. It does all these things,
Yeah.
and my confidence score that I'm going to be able to properly execute is X.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Vercel, my confidence score that I'm going to be able to properly execute is Y."
Mm. Mhm.
Because I read
Yeah.
on, the Moltbook
I,
Yelp
I do wonder if this is something that Cursor or Claude would do for their own
internally.
tools. Well, not necessarily.
Oh,
So like, let's say I'm Cursor as a company, and Cursor can have its Cursor agents do public reviews of MCPs if their users like adopt them. And then oh, for Cursor, these
are the
MCPs perform
best.
the best. And so like, that makes me like that's something Cursor could do.
Yeah.
Right. And then I know which ones are best with Cursor. Maybe Anthropic also has its own reviewing system.
Yeah, and it almost
Uses
like
best. Yeah.
biases towards using those tools because it knows it uses them the best.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Did you see, I thought it was super novel, but I don't think they've done anything with it. Because a lot of ways that I find out about new tools is I get suggested in my coding sessions, like, hey, I want to do XYZ. And
Mm.
it says, well, you can do that with these different tools. And AMP was having ads be put in, so you could pay so that you
Wow.
would be suggested in those moments.
I hate that, but I mean, like, I get it. I think it's like a fair thing. I think it's just,
I don't think it went anywhere.
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. I think like I want to make sure that the recommendations are unbiased, right? And so if there's like a maybe like central reviewing system where like I as a user of a agent can like have a MCP server that like after every session like reviews every MCP server it used for how good it was, and that all goes somewhere and everybody uses this and it all goes to the same place, then it's like it is like a Yelp for
Yeah.
agent experiences.
Yeah, I imagine you would have it in like the Google sponsored. These first two links are sponsored,
Yeah.
and they have this review that you're talking
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
and then the next ones are internal
Yeah.
SEO surfaced ones.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But that is, man, the agent usability on it. I do like that, and the whole agent experience to have an agent be able to go. I mean, it goes back to what you're saying with the what are we doing or what are we not doing
Yeah.
that you want us to be doing so
Yeah.
that the experience can be better.
It needs to be better, right? I think we have been, as an industry, like kind of lazy. Like we have been relying on the model labs. Like we've been relying on Anthropic and OpenAI to just make AI smarter
Yeah.
when there's so many things we can be doing to just make their jobs easier,
Yeah.
right? Like to make like the model's job easier.
Yeah.
So I think that it's a natural, like we've seen in the last like 6 years, like models come to here and no effort from like existing software to meet
Yeah.
them there. And so now I think we're shifting into a world where obviously the models will improve, but we're also improving interfaces for them to do better, right? So I think MCP is like the biggest step we've done to get them there.